Alright guys, today we're going to be starting our new unit on properties of triangles. So just some basic things to remember. So in elementary, if remember when we were introduced to a triangle, we know that a triangle is called tri because it has three sides. So we're just going to go ahead and label the sides here. So we have side 1, we have another side, and then we have the third side here. When we were talking about our angle unit, we talked about those corners, and so those corners, or I would say the corners, those ones are called vertices here. So here, instead of calling those angles, we'll call them vertices. Okay, so it's referring to the corners, it's referring to the angles that are created in between the sides. Alright, some quick facts about angles is that we know about triangles, is that we know that it's a polygon with three sides and three angles. We also know that a triangle, so here if I draw a triangle and I label it A, B, and C, we know that it's going to be denoted as triangle A, B, and C. So that would be the correct notation for you on how to write it. Would be like that. Alright, next we're going to be classifying our angles by the sides. So here, if you guys look at this very first triangle here, this one, if you look at the tallies, all of the tallies are different. So we have 1 tally, 2 tallies, and 3 tallies. And so what this means is that this triangle does not have any sides that are the same. And so here we call this a scalene triangle. Alright, next we're going to have a triangle that has 2 sides that are the same. And so that's going to be this one down here. So if you look at the notations, 2 of the sides have 2 tallies, okay, and then one of them has 1 tally. So here we're going to call this an isosceles triangle, and so it has to have at least 2 sides that are congruent. Alright, and then based on the sides, the last type of triangle that we have is going to be an equilateral, and an equilateral has all sides that are the same. So if we look at our last triangle here, all of the sides have 1 tally, meaning they're all equal. Alright, so once again, to recap, we have an isosceles triangle that's in purple. It needs to have 2 sides that are the same. A scalene is going to be our red triangle where all 3 sides are different. And then we have our equilateral, right? So it sounds like equal, all of the parts are equal, meaning all the 3 sides are equal. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and classify our triangles by the angles that they have. Okay, so the angles over here. So first we're going to go ahead and look at our right triangle. And so remember, we know it's a right triangle because of this little box that it has. Okay, so that box tells us that that's a right angle and therefore it's equal to 90 degrees. Alright, next we're going to have our obtuse triangle, and this one here has to have at least one angle that measures more than 90 degrees. So it has to be greater than 90 degrees. Alright, and last we're going to have our acute triangle. And so our acute triangle is going to have 3 angles that all measure less than 90 degrees. Alright, so once again, our right triangle has 1 right angle that is dictated by that square, which makes it a 90 degrees. Then we have our obtuse triangle, which here is the one that has the purple highlighting. And so this triangle has 1 angle that is greater than the 90 degrees. And then the last triangle that we have here is our acute triangle. And here all 3 angles are less than 90 degrees. Alright, next we're going to go into one of our properties here. It's called the angle sum theorem. Okay, and so our theorem tells us here that the 3 angles of a triangle always add up to 180 degrees. All right, so that means if we have a triangle here, A, B, and C, that means that the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle C is going to equal the 180. All right, so some examples here. If we look at the yellow triangle, we know that one angle is going to be 45 degrees. The other angle is going to be 32 degrees. And so if we want to find the last angle, sorry, my daughter's pretending to be an elephant. Not sure if you guys can hear in the background. Okay, so here once again, if we're looking at the yellow triangle, we have one being 45 degrees, one side being 32 degrees. And so to find the third side, all three of them have to add up to 180. So if we do 180 minus the 45 minus the 32, we're going to find out that the last side should be 103 degrees. I can write that in. All right, looking at our pink example here, so we have an angle that is 68 degrees, and then we have a second angle that's 62 degrees, and so if we want all three of the angles to add up to 180 degrees, we would subtract 68 from 180, and then 62 from that, and so that is going to leave us with 50 degrees there. And then looking at our green example here, we know that this is going to be a right angle because of that 90 degrees there. And so here, if that's 90 and this is 60, then we know that the angle there is going to be 30 degrees. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop my notes there. If you guys want, if you want to follow along, I cut out the template that I posted for you guys on Google Classroom. So if you want to use that for your notes, feel free to do that. You could write it on there, and I'll give you the remainder, which is the exterior angle theorem, next week. Okay, but for this week, your assignment is going to be to do the classifying triangles worksheet. So I believe that's 12 questions, and then you have the triangle sum theorem worksheet as well. So go ahead and make sure you finish those. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask during tomorrow's Zoom, or feel free to message me. Have a great day.